Compound Mindset is sponsored by Synergy Stays. We're a revenue management optimization company for short-term rentals. If you want a short-term rental, you love the hospitality side, you're crushing it when it comes to guests, but you don't want to have to focus on the revenue side of things, or you just know that in order to stay on top of all the tips, tricks, and trends, it's just a lot of work and it's a full-time job, well, hit us up. You sound like the perfect person that can work with us, and we'd love to partner with you.
What's up, everyone? Welcome to another episode of the Compound Mindset. Today, I want to hop on here and talk about goals and habits. I think this is something that, it's easily, we talk about this, end of December for January 1st. Hey, my resolutions and my goals are X, Y, and Z. And, why do they all go by the wayside? I know it happened to me for years. I'd be like, I'm going to lose 30 pounds. And then bye-bye. By March, I've lost that momentum. So I just want to talk a little bit about what I do, some of the things I've learned, some of the things I've heard and have worked for me, and see if that works for you as well. But I heard on the Modern Wisdom, it's been a podcast I've been listening to a lot, Chris Williamson, and it's awesome. He's got some great guests on there. Alex Hormozy's been a great one, and quite a few others. One of the things they were talking about, one of his guests, and I apologize, I don't remember who it was talking about how he doesn't even set annual goals. He only does weekly goals. And that really got me thinking, and I understood that. Like, I do annual goals. My wife and I, every December, we usually travel and we'll sit down and we'll goal set for the following year. We'll put together, financial goals, fitness goals, faith goals, family goals, and then personal growth goals. And probably about one or two, sometimes a few goals in each category. But we goal set every December, put it all together, put it down in writing. And I think one of the first tip I'll give you, one of the biggest things that have helped me out is we take those goals, we'll tape them to our bathroom mirror. So every morning when we brush our teeth or take a shower, we're looking at our goals, and it catches my eye, and I end up reading them all. I'm like, all right, I'm doing pretty good at that one. Oh, I achieved that goal. Oh man, I'm sucking at that goal. I got to step it up. And it just kind of keeps it in front of me. I know a good friend of mine and mentor, Kelly, she writes down her goals every day. And I think she has a handful, top 3, whatever it is. She writes down her goals every day because there's a difference on, things that you write, you might retain differently. And it all depends on your learning style. Are you better learning from hearing it? Maybe you replay your goals and you listen to it in the morning, or visualizing it or writing it down. Like, which way is going to embed it in your head the best way? But that's what I do. I personally just take them all. We set all our goals. We make sure they align. We make sure each one knows each other's goals. I think that's important. If you have a spouse or you're close to someone and you're goal setting together, make sure you understand their goals too, and you can help support it. Like, for instance, one of my wife's goals is she wanted to do a trip with our daughter before she had our son. And now that, he was born in May, now she wants to do a trip with her after she had our son. And like, this was one of her goals. So she went and did a Myrtle Beach tour before. Trip with her. I digress a little bit. That's kind of funny because she took her on that trip and she's like, I don't know that she really enjoyed herself. She kept saying, hey, let's go back to the room. Let's go back to the room. And now every time we mention a water park or whatever it is, she's like, oh, like the pirate ship, like Myrtle Beach. And she's like so excited about that trip that she took with her mom. It's just adorable. But now she wants to do one after we had our son. So she's looking to book that. And I need to be supportive of that. So I want to make sure I see that goal. And I mentioned it to her the other day. I said, hey, Lisa, you had this goal to do another trip with her before the end of the year. What weekend works? What are you thinking? What do you want to do so that I can make sure I can help you achieve your goal? And I think that's really important. So really understanding each other's goals have helped us out a lot, helps us communicate well, helps us hold each other accountable, and helps us, with the other person achieving their goals. So I just think that was really powerful. But I'm going to go back to that Modern Wisdom quote that I started with about this person saying he likes to do just like the weekly goals. And I feel like that's where habits come into play. We all talk about, hey, we can put these lofty goals together, but if we don't have an attainable action plan, they're just dreams that we're just dreaming up and probably never going to achieve. And I'll be completely honest with you, in 2021, I had a goal of my company making $500,000. Never made more than, I think, $180,000 before then as a business. And I'm like, I'm going to put this lofty goal in there. I hired a coach. We put together a very specific game plan to achieve that goal. So it looked like this. It was, all right, I want to make $500,000. What is my average? At this point, I was doing real estate sales and a couple of flips a year, and I was a one-man show. So I think I had done like 20 something deals a year before. And I'm like, all right, here's my goal. Here's what I want to do. And it's like, okay, I went back and I looked at the numbers. I said, over those 28 deals that I did, what was the average commission I earned off of those? And I want to say it was somewhere around $8,000 a deal. Oh, $8,000 a deal in commission. If I want to hit $500,000 and I'd maybe make, let's say, 30 grand a flip. So I needed to do 3 flips at 30 grand a piece. That's 90,000. And then I still need the 410. 410 divided by the 8 was roughly 51 deals. So I have to do 51 real estate deals and 3 flips to hit that goal. So then I broke it down to monthly. All right, how many deals is that a month? Well, that's about 4 point whatever, 2 real estate deals a month and 1 flip every 4 months. And then once I really brought it down to that degree, every week I could look to see what I'm on track for. All right, what do I have in the pipeline? How many buyers do I have? How many listings do I have? How many flips do I have under contract? I also have to get them closed out by the end of the year. So I really can't do one every 4 months. I really got to front end load those 3 deals so that I'm good to go for the next, 8, 9 months and get them renovated and sold. But that's how detailed Kelly, my coach, helped me be as far as that goal setting. And it was awesome because by July of that year, I hit the $500,000 and I ended up doing about $780,000 in 2021. That was the best year I've ever done. I brought on a part-time employee, started bringing on some systems, some marketing, and just been able to start paying for things to build my business. And since then, we've had a little bit better year each year up until this year will be a little bit of a setback because we're restructuring, as I mentioned on a past episode. But yeah, that's how I built it. And that's how I did the goal setting. And it really helped me out a lot to look at that big picture so that you can create weekly and monthly habits to achieve your bigger goals. And I think that's where the guy at Modern Wisdom was coming into that. He was talking about, I'd rather have these small, like weekly goals with habits that I create because those habits are a lot stronger than just a goal. And what I mean by that is, let's take, for instance, weight loss or health is your goal. And you say, hey, one of mine is, I'll be vulnerable on here. I'll say, I want to be able to see a couple abs. I don't have to see all 6 of them. If I could see 1 or 2, I'd be happy with that. Like, that is my goal this year. By the end of the year, I need to be able to see a couple of my abs. So I can go on here and just have that as a goal and kind of live my life as I am, eat, drink, do whatever I'm doing, but not really create any habits towards it. Just say, I want to do this, go to the gym, feel like I'm eating a little healthy. But quite honestly, to get to that level, I realized, at least at 45 years old, which I am now, I can't just eat healthy most of the time and then work out a few days a week. I have to be even more regimented in order to get down to I'm probably 20% body fat. I need to get down to about 15% body fat to hit that goal of being able to see some abs. And that's really got me thinking, okay, well, I've done all these habits and it hasn't helped me achieve the goal. What habits can I create to help me achieve the goal that I'm trying to get to? Because I can't just, right now I just have that goal and I'm not creating enough habits to achieve the goal. So therefore it's just a dream. I'm never going to get to it. So that's where the habits really come into play. And that's where I think this guy, Modern Wisdom, was talking about, create a bunch of habits in your life so your goal ultimately has to happen. And I just thought that was pretty powerful and it makes sense, but you don't necessarily think of it that way. So my habits are, I don't eat after 7:30. I cut out sweets. I make sure I work out every day, at least a walk, a ruck. I hit the gym, some sort of workout every day. But I have to go even deeper into that. I fast. I have specific things for lunches and for dinners, and I try to stay away from. I'll have a little bit of carbs, but not too many carbs, especially as it gets into the evening hours. So these are the habits I have to create, kind of eating habits, in order to be able to achieve that goal that I want to hit. The eating habit, the working out habits. Create these small habits every day, and they're not huge. If I walk for 20 minutes, throw a 25-pound rucking vest on, and just walk for 20 minutes. Just get into that habit on a daily basis. And then maybe the days I don't do that, I go to the gym and I work out and I do a workout routine. But it's the habits that really help you hit these bigger goals. It just takes a long time. I was just talking to my dad about this the other day, kind of on a tangent, but not really. We were talking about how in life, when it comes to gratification, it's really 2 different choices. Very rarely can you mix and combine them both to one. It's either instant gratification or delayed gratification. For instance, I have a sweet tooth. I want a piece of chocolate cake. I'm going to have that instant gratification and eat that chocolate cake. What did it do? I just ate 50 grams of sugar, which is my whole day's worth, and all this fat and stuff. And the workout I did this morning just went by the wayside because I burnt 150 calories and I just ate 400 calories. So I had traded off my delayed gratification of seeing my abs for the instant gratification of having that chocolate cake. Just one instance. Food's just the easiest way to say it, but I mean, you can go on and on. There's a lot of other examples when it comes to instant gratification versus delayed. Instant gratification is, I'm going to take a nap or watch a movie instead of go work out. Delayed gratification is, hey, I'm going to go and brace the suck and work out. And guess what? It's going to take 6-9 months for me to really see results, but I got to continually do that every day. And I'm committed to that delayed gratification. In my opinion, delayed gratification usually feels a lot better and releases a lot more, serotonin than instant gratification. And the other trap that I feel instant gratification gets you in is it's easier. So it's easier just to keep compounding that and then give up on the delayed gratification and the bigger goals that you're trying to hit. So my point on that is when you're setting up these goals and you're trying to achieve big things, if that's what you choose, if you don't, listen, everybody's themselves. You choose what you want to choose, but I don't think you're listening to me if you're choosing the chocolate cake all the time. You're probably the type of person who wants to go for the delayed gratification to hit those bigger goals that you're shooting for. And I think that's helped me out a lot in my life to say, okay, fighting that instant gratification, because anybody who knows me, that's why I don't have cookies in the house. That's why I don't ice cream, because I know I'm going to want to eat them and I don't necessarily have all the self-control. So I don't put myself in that situation. And it helps me get in a momentum of that delayed gratification. And I am not perfect. I'm actually at a point right now where I'm back up to like 172 pounds because I've been not as great at my habits as I was the first 6 months out of the year, 7 months out of the year. So I had to relook at myself, say, hey, Dan, that's why I weigh myself every day. I know exactly where I stand. I said, you know what? I got to get back in the habits that I was doing for the first 7 months, not the past month, month and a half. So I could check myself. No one's perfect. We're all going to fall. We're all going to fall, but have measures in place that you're always keeping a keen eye on yourself. So it's not 6 months down the line where you're like, oh crap, I'm back up to me personally, I'm back up to 185 pounds. How did I miss all this? No, I step on that scale every day so that it reminds me, hey, Dan, you're slipping a little bit. Step it up. Let's not do the treat today. Let's not give in. Let's be very strict on that 7:30 timeline of, don't eat after that. And if you eat before it, make sure it's all as much protein, vegetables, etc. that you can rather than carbs and sugars. So that's me personally, whatever your goals are, do the same thing. But the habits are what's going to make us better. The habits are what make us stronger. And the habits are the thing that, I went to New Hampshire and I was on a really good workout regimen. And what's the biggest thing you could do is you go on vacation for a week and you stop your habits. How much harder is it to get back on your habits when you get back from vacation? Super hard. So I made sure I continued that habit every day. Well, the first day, my wife and I went for a walk because it was beautiful along Lake Winnipesaukee. And we had my daughter. And I had her on my shoulders, and my wife was walking, and we would stop and we did 20 or 25 squats at a time. Bottom line is we did about 100 squats as we walked. So we walked and did about 100 squats, and I did it with my daughter on my shoulders, and she's about 30 something pounds. So that was our workout day one. And then every other day that vacation in the morning, I would usually wake up before everybody else around like 5:30, watch sunrise, and then I'd go for a run. And then as my wife and the family would wake up, she would go for a run, and I'd watch the kiddos. And we were able to get that exercise in because we kept that momentum and those habits going. It's very easy to go on vacation and stop your habits. So I'm a firm believer, and I'm not saying you don't bend them. It's not what I'm saying. And again, do whatever the hell you want. But me personally, I still want to stick to my routines as much as possible. I still want to not get too far outside of my habits because that's the easy way to relapse back. So that's just a piece of advice that works for me. Again, you know what works for you, but I would recommend, even when you're going on vacation and doing different things, try to stay within your habits as much as possible. Bend a little bit, but don't break it. And I feel like that's going to be a lot easier to keep your goals, still achieve your goals while enjoying life and having fun. And I think it's also the importance of saying no. So once you set your goals, don't be afraid to say no on certain things. So if you have certain financial goals and you have a plan of habits that are going to help you achieve that financial goal, anything outside your habits and your plan, say no to. It's hard at first because like, oh, I can make $3,000. I can make $2,000 doing this. But then when I go back and think about it, I'm like, yeah, but that slowed my momentum of the compounding of all my other things to be able to maximize the revenue in the future. So again, it's that instant gratification of I can make that quick $3,000, but I just screwed up the delayed gratification of building the business into a multi-million-dollar company in the future because I'm trying to chase a couple of quick dollars here and there. As a business owner, it's helped me a lot to say, hey, no, here's our clear goal. Here's my, SMART goals. Here's what I have to hold my team accountable for. And I'm not great I'm getting better and better each day at making sure I stay on track on those goals because anybody who knows me, my mind's all over the place. I'm thinking about 15 things at once. And my right-hand man, Jake, my COO, keeps me in check. He's like, hey, Dan, focus here. I need you to stay on these things. Where are we at with this? And we hold each other accountable every week at these meetings saying, hey, you said you were going to achieve this. Here's what you were working on. Did we hit it? Did we not? If we didn't, why not? And again, that's the importance. I'll keep on driving this factor home here. It's like having the great people around you, the team, your spouse, your support structure, your friends, having the right people around you that are pushing you to be better and holding you accountable for things that you said you were going to do, because I think that's Another key component of creating those habits and hitting those goals is having people around you that are your cheerleaders, not people telling you what you can't do. I have a saying at home. My daughter sometimes will, whatever, trying to put on a sock or something, whatever she's trying to do, she goes, "Daddy, I can't do this." And I'll look at her and I'll say, "Baby, 2 words in this house that I'm not allowed to say. I can't. You just can't. You have to say, how can I?" And I'm trying to ingrain that in her head. Instead of saying I can't because we put so many limitations on ourselves, why not say, how can I? Listen, the answer may be, I don't know, I can't fly to the moon. Well, how can I? Well, it seems like there's no answer, but now maybe like figure out a way to get on one of Elon Musk's spaceships. So it's like rockets, whatever they're called. But like maybe there is a how can I? And how do you think people overcame stuff in the 18th and 19th century, building trains and railroads and airplanes, all stuff? It's because people would ingrain in their head, you can't, you can't, you can't. And they said, no, I refuse that. How can I? And I try to really drive that in my daughter's head. And I think that's important when we're creating these goals and habits is get the words I can't out of your head. It's helped me out a lot. It's how can I? If my team members know, if they tell me that I can't do something, I had a team member before would always love to tell me how I can't do something. How I can't do something. I'm like, don't tell me what I can and can't do. Like, you can put limitations on yourself. Don't put the limitations on me. I will figure out a way. Question is, how can I? Or who do I have to talk to make it happen? At the end of the day, that's what it is. It's do not tell me I can't. And I think that's important to have that in your mind of, hey, these habits, these big lofty goals that you have, how can I achieve them? The book 10X is greater than 2X is a great book on this, just getting you think differently. It's easier to double your productivity because let's just say I want to go from 30 sales a year in real estate to 60. I just had to do the same thing and just work harder and double down on that. But if I want to go from 30 deals a year to 300 deals a year, that's a totally different mindset and game plan. And I can easily say, well, I can't do that. I can't go from 30 to 300. And now I just put that limitation on myself. Now I made it easy. I'm not going to hit that goal. Or I could say, how can I do that? And the answers are probably going to be, I need to bring on agents that can do 20 to 30 deals a year themselves. I need 10 of those agents. I need to make sure I'm feeding them the proper leads. I need the proper marketing channels to make it so that we can hit that 300 deals a year goal. Like, that's the difference in mindset shift. And all of a sudden you're like, wait a second, that is achievable. It's not easy, but it's simple. And there's a plan in place that I can go and attack and achieve. I can create habits to make sure that we hit this goal. And that's what it's all about. When you're goal setting, it's thinking outside the box. It's saying, how can I instead of I can't. It's putting specific goals down on paper and making sure that they're trackable on a weekly and monthly basis to see how you're tracking towards those goals. And at the end of the day, it's believing in yourself. I mean, I'm going to say it right now. I believe in you. Whoever's listening to this, I firmly believe in you. And I think you could do some amazing things as long as you say, how can I instead of I can't. So anybody want to talk deeper about goal setting and how I do my goals, feel free to reach out to me. I'm happy to give you any tips and tricks that I do. Again, it's not all perfect. It's not all great, but it works for me. And you just need to find what works for you. Cheers. I appreciate you listening.